Hello my precious gems, welcome back to my channel. So this is a little different type of a video. So I thought I would create this series called Saree 101, where I sit down and talk about the basics of sarees, the beautiful sarees that you can select, the types of drapes, a little bit about the color combinations. So all of this comes from my perspective, what I like, what I think is a very beautiful color combination, or what I did and my saree journey. So to just give you guys a little bit of a history about my saree journey, I remember draping a saree when I was as small as I think like 6 or 7 years old. But we would always drape a saree and act like a teacher, and we would start teaching a class, you know. So it could basically be like a dupatta, you know, it's like a shawl, a small fabric, and we would just drape it around to make it look like a saree, and we would kind of just teach a class. That's my first memory of wearing a saree. Then of course, when you hit puberty in Tamil Nadu in India, we have this puberty function, right? So in the puberty function, you're gifted a saree. So that's pretty much the first saree that you're being gifted, and you have to wear a saree. It kind of signifies your you know, going into womanhood and all of those things. So puberty was the second time that it was the first time that I kind of was gifted a saree. But yeah, it was another experience of a saree, one of my second experiences of I remember wearing a saree, I think. So as I came into adulthood, I was very skinny, so I kind of felt like if I wore a saree, I would look super skinny in it. So I would always choose sarees that were like a silk saree, or I would go for like silk cotton sarees, which would kind of make me look a little, you know, I thought it made me look a little better, and that kind of gave me confidence. So I would go for such fabrics. I used to always stay away from fabrics like georgette or chiffon. Those are the kind of sarees that kind of just hug your curves, and kind of, you know, I didn't want to look skinny back then. So yeah, so for every Christmas they would gift us a saree, and it would always be a silk saree, because a saree is always a legacy, right? In the Indian culture, the way that they see sarees is that if you're being gifted a saree, she could carry that saree forward. You know, when she gets married, she could probably just carry that saree forward, and it kind of becomes sort of this you know, seer, we say seer, like, you know, this girl brought so many sarees. That's how they speak, right? Like, so it kind of is a legacy. So silk sarees are like the most precious sort of sarees. And yeah, so recently for my birthday, I saw this beautiful saree online. I'm going to insert a picture over here. I saw this really pretty chiffon saree, and I've been seeing a few designers and a few girls on Instagram doing this beautiful black and white sort of you know, a look with the saree, and it looked really pretty, and it also reminded me a lot about Sephora handbag. But I obviously thought it was a very pretty look, so I kind of wanted to buy that saree. It was super cheap on Amazon, you guys, so I just thought I should buy that saree and experiment. And I loved the way the georgette saree sat on my body. I felt super sexy. I felt so confident, and that kind of inspired me to you know, sort of like buy a lot of sarees. So since January, I've bought about 3 different sarees. So 3 new sarees I've got. It's January, so keep in mind this is like Feb 19th today. I've kind of got 3 new sarees, and I just wanted to show you guys, what do you do with a saree when you buy a new saree, because people are mostly you know, clueless, right? So this is obviously in English, so this is kind of made for the larger crowd who does not have a familiarity with a saree, who does not have that sort of confidence with a saree. And this is not in Tamil or any of the regional languages, because you know your sarees, you know your way around it, you know where to go, what to buy, what to do. So from my standpoint, the way that I see sarees, the way that I think it's sexy, the way that I think it gives me confidence, and I think it's the most beautiful attire in the entire universe. So this is that series. So this is Saree 101 through my eyes. Welcome. So this is a saree that I got recently. It's this really pretty lime green and pink border saree. So it's got this beautiful big border in the end, and I absolutely love big borders. I'm a huge sucker for big borders. So when you wear it, you're gonna have this really big border down near your feet. And last year I was all about monotones, right? I wanted sarees that were like a single color, but this year I'm all about color combinations. So this is a saree. I'm just going to show you guys a little bit about how the saree looks. So this is the entire body of the saree. Look how gorgeous it is, you guys. It's so beautiful. It's got this almost like a little bit of a double shade. If you look closely, you can see that it's got a little bit of a double shade, and it's got this tiny border on top, which I absolutely love. And towards the end, it's got this really nice big border, and the border's got this really pretty flower designs, flower motifs. So this is the motif on the saree. It's super gorgeous. It's so pretty. I absolutely love it. And we're going to go to the other end of the saree. So this is the blouse bit. This is the blouse bit of the saree, right? So this is like the blouse bit of the saree. So as you guys can see, the blouse bit pretty much looks like the saree, but it's in a different color. So it has a contrast color blouse, but it is a running blouse. So when they say the blouse is running, they mean that it is attached to the saree. It is attached to the saree. So when you want to take the blouse bit away, you will have to cut it. So you're going to cut it over here. Cut and separate the blouse from the saree so that you'll have a separate blouse bit. So let's do that. So don't do this by yourself. Get somebody's help, like your friend, your sister, your mother, your roommate, your husband. Get somebody's help. But this is what I do because I can pretty much do it by myself. So I kind of just, just follow the line. You can see that there's a clear distinction because the saree is in two colors. There's a clear distinction between the blouse bit and the saree bit. So I'm just going to cut off the blouse by myself. So the way that I do it is, I'm just going to hold the saree like this over here, and I'm just going to start to cut it. I'm going to start and cut the saree. You know what pros do? They just kind of like run the scissors like this and just cut it in like one go, like a tailor would do that. You can do that, but if you're doing it at home, take your time, do it slowly so that you don't damage your pretty saree. So I'm just cutting down the saree. This is really hard to like film and talk. Done. Okay, you guys, so now I have a separate fabric for the blouse. So this is my blouse bit. As you guys can see, it has this beautiful double shade fabric and it's super gorgeous. And this blouse bit also has a border and it has a big border. So now that we have the blouse bit though, I'm going to talk a little bit about how you can make the blouse. Okay, so as creative as a tailor is, if you go give this blouse bit to them, what they will do is they could use this border right near your hips behind on your blouse as a design. They could cut this border separately and use it for your neck design. They could also keep this border like right at your arm over here, so it looks like a really pretty design on your arm. So let me just do this. I'm just trying to show you guys. Yeah, so they could probably do a blouse like this, and they could put the border near your arm like this. So a tailor is like really creative, right? They can do one-on-one things with this blouse, right? So but this saree has like a bigger border over here. Usually what I do is when I get a saree, I feel like and this is very important, you guys, I feel like tailors, they kind of take a little bit of the material that comes to them, and this is usually just for all tailors. They take advantage of the materials that you give them. This is mostly materials that are in an excess, which they've already used to make a blouse for you, and there is a little bit of an excess and they use it. They just take creative rights like that. But I just feel like, you know, because I just feel like I can get more out of my materials, what I do is I often tend to kind of take one side of the border, because you can give this border around your hips and for your hands, but that's just so much excess border, right? And I feel like the border around your hip is usually not that vivid or seen, and it also blends into the color of my blouse, right? If this was a contrast border, I would probably just leave it near the hips, but I don't want that for my sari. So what I usually do with most of my sari blouses is that when I have two borders, I tend to kind of take a separate border for myself, and what I do with this border is I get belts made from this border, like a sari belt. So these are just a few examples of sari belts that I've gotten done with my previous sari borders. Like a belt is basically something like this. So I used, like, the last sari border was just so big, can you see? There are different sizes of borders, right? So I just used a little bit of the same fabric, like my blouse fabric. So this will basically go around your hips like this, and you could just get it tied at the back. So this is like super pretty when you're styling a sari. It's like so gorgeous. And also, you guys, like, this is silk. This is like proper silk. This is from a silk sari. So if you, the skinnier you are, the less material is required to make your blouse. So I would suggest, you know, you could save a border if you don't feel like using it. So this is basically like a gold belt that I did. I could use this with like almost any sari. I can use this with like almost any sari. So I'm gonna show you the color of the sari over here. Like, this must have been finished. Like, they should have stitched this or something, or at least put some fabric glue, and they haven't finished this. But anyway, I'm just gonna show you guys the sari color because it's not finished properly. And you can add a little bit of a tassel at the end to make the sari belt look super pretty. But you guys, anyway, this is going to be concealed behind, right? So so that's fine. But look at this. This as a belt is going to be like super gorgeous, right? Like, don't you think? It's so beautiful. So I love getting belts like this made. And this is from another sari, another belt. This is from this beautiful copper blouse that I absolutely loved. And look at the belt, it's so shiny. So this is actually a bronze copper sort of a finish. And I kind of gave some instructions to get the belt done in like a different size. I feel like my instructions haven't been followed properly, because it's like the basic thing, you guys. Like, if I had a sewing machine though, I would do it by myself. It's so pretty, you guys. You don't wear it on your head. I'm just showing it to you on my head because I'm just so lazy to kind of like put it around my hip. That's how it goes. And if you're kind of like pregnant or something, if you put a belt, like, your belly is gonna like pop and it's gonna look really pretty. And also, if you're not pregnant, a belt is just really nice because it'll kind of like just, it makes your hips go in, and it kind of just shows your hips in like a really pretty way. So yeah, so that's what I just saved the borders for. With this sari though, I'm kind of in a dilemma because I saw this blouse on Pinterest with this color combination of pink and green, and I feel like a simple small border blouse is kind of enough for me, and I will also be able to kind of like mix and match it for other saris as well. And I feel like if I have like a huge border near my arm, I don't know if it'll look, see, it just looks like a different sari altogether, right? Like, imagine, and there's just going to be like this much of my blouse being seen. So I don't think I fancy this look. So for this sari, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this tiny border, and I'm going to keep the material as it is, but this big border, I think I'm going to cut it out. So I basically will use this big border with another blouse bit, so I'll kind of like mix and match two fabrics and kind of create an altogether different blouse material. I've done that before. Absolutely freaking love it. So I'm just gonna like cut this border and save it as an arm embellishment border for another blouse. So I'm gonna just cut this piece out and get back to you guys. So now we have our border and we also have our blouse material. A blouse material is usually a meter in length or 80 points if you're like super skinny, and it's basically a crop top, you guys. A blouse is a crop top and a meter is enough material to make a really good pretty blouse. Okay, so now we have our blouse bit, and I'm just going to get into a little bit of a detail about the part of a sari. So this is our sari, right? So this is the part where we kind of cut off our blouse. So this is how our sari looks. It's a dual color sari. It's this beautiful color combination. It's got these beautiful square golden square designs all over it. It's stunning. It's a little bit see-through, and this is our sari, right? So this is the bit of sari. When you're draping, it goes in. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys the side of the sari that's kind of a decorative side that goes on your shoulder. So that bit comes in the end of the sari. So over here we had our blouse which we cut off, and in the end of the sari you have the decorative part. So as you guys can see, it's a little, we call this the mundani. We call this the mundani. So this is basically the decorative part of a sari. It need not necessarily have these tassels. These tassels are not a must, but you can get these tassels made for like a silk sari. They just make it in the store and they give it to you. So this is the mundani. So this is the bit that kind of goes behind like this, right? So when you kind of hold it, it's gonna look all cute and decorative. And this is basically the bit that would kind of, you know, come like this, and the other end of the sari would basically be the one where you kind of like, you know, drape it around your body. So this is kind of like, this is the part that you kind of drape. So this is basically the parts of a sari. So now you've got all the parts of your sari. You got your blouse bit, you got your borders, you got your mundani or the decorative part of a sari. So what do you do with the side that you cut? So what you do is you could basically just take it to a tailor, and what they will do is they will do a small stitch. Like they'll just fold it again and put a straight stitch so that it secures the end of your sari. Consequently, you can also do this at your house by yourself. A tailor would ask, like the cheapest rate would be like 10 bucks, and the most I would pay is like 100. You know, there are some tailors these days, like you just go give them like a fabric for a handkerchief. They'll be like, it costs you around 10,000 rupees. Those tailors are there and they do a fabulous job. I'm not kidding you. But yeah, you've got to get your ends secured. So stay tuned for part 2 where I show you guys what I do, how I design my blouse. So stay tuned for part 2 where I show you guys how I get the edges of the sari secured and what I do with my blouse, how I design it, the thought process that actually goes behind designing a blouse, and how I would style it personally. And I will also walk you guys through how to wear a sari and everything. So see you guys in my next video. Bye.